If you go to the website of the Language Policy Division, well, I'll run through the websites in a moment, you come across this. And these are the very different arms and legs of the current project. And if you click on each of those panels in turn, you'll come up with the various things that have been produced. What I'm not very happy with is the banishment of the CFR and the ELP to the foreign languages, modern and classical box. At a very early stage, the decision was taken not to attempt to expand the CFR into a framework that would embrace, for example, migrant learning of the language of schooling, and might indeed try to relate some of the higher level descriptors that imply academic language to the language of schooling for anybody. My view is that was a mistake. And but anyway, that's what they've decided to do. But if you go there, you can get all of this stuff. And on the handout, I've summarised what all these projects are at. Let's just finish off by looking at these websites. www.coe.intlang, that's the homepage of the Language Policy Division. That's where you find this diagram, and that'll give you information on all these activities. Another thing we did that you may be interested to know about is and we being myself and my colleague Barbara Simpson in Dublin, we developed a curriculum framework for Romani, following the same kind of approach as we'd taken with our benchmarks, but going from A1 through to B2, because there are school systems in Europe that teach partly through Romani, or seek to do that. And we worked over a couple of years with a group of Roma and Romani experts. And that produced this curriculum framework, which is currently being piloted and implemented in 7 or 8 of the member states with Roma populations. And you can find that if you click on the link to minorities, I think minorities and migrants. I was interested to discover, anecdotally as one does, that the framework is being used around the edges of teaching Cree in Edmonton, and I can't remember what the other language is, Oneida in Ontario. So there you go. The other website that the Council of Europe has related to all of this is the portfolio one. That's the second, and that'll give you all the information on the ELP and whatnot. On the first page you come to, there's a thing I wrote, about 10,000 words, last year on this idea of bringing pedagogy and assessment together via the ELP and self-assessment, and linking it up with the literature on assessment for learning and all of that. Then the third one is the European Centre for Modern Languages website, and in the, not the current but the previous medium-term programme, I had a project with 4 colleagues from different countries on preparing teachers to use the ELP. This was one of the things that there seemed to be a big need for. And what we did was to develop a sort of toolkit of materials, PowerPoint presentations and activities and workshop stuff and whatnot. And we tried those materials out over a 4-day period in a workshop with people from the different ECML member states. And then we followed it up over 2 years with events in some of those countries that drew on these materials and tailored them to their particular needs. I think we did, in the end, 17 countries. And all that material is still there. And currently I've got one on whole school use of the ELP. And then the fourth one, www.ncca.ie. That NCCA is the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment in Ireland. And they host things that I've done that have since been abolished. So all the stuff we did for ESL in the schools, in Integrated Island Language and Training, because that doesn't exist anymore. You can get all that stuff there. So if you're interested in looking more closely at these benchmarks and the accompanying portfolio, and as a matter of fact, the tests. I mean, the last thing I would do if I'd spent 3 years and quite a lot of money developing and within available resources validating tests would be to put them straightforwardly into the public domain. But the mind of our ministry was very much focused on their lack of money. So they said, we can't afford to print these anymore, so we'll put them on the website and people can download them. So if you're interested in seeing what we've done there, you can get all of that stuff as well. And then finally, that rather long link, that's the School of Linguistic, Speech and Communication Sciences, Centre for Language and Communication Studies website, and you can get a lot of material about that project that was a continuation of what I was reporting on our post-primary ELP. There's a lot of examples, there's interviews with learners and teachers and that kind of stuff. That's all still there. Well, that's enough. You've heard me more than you ever felt it was going to be necessary. Thank you very much for your patience, because